Hello, everyone. This is Sara Moses, the host of the Do It Now podcast. And I am beyond excited today to be interviewing Dr. Tuby Akinlosotu. Did I say that correctly?
You
Yes.
got it. You're there.
I've been practicing. I am just so excited to have you today on my podcast because I have to let everyone know that I have been soaking in all of your incredible energy and inspiration and the way that you help women and you serve women. And it is definitely something that I needed in my life. So I can't wait to share it with my audience. So
Hmm.
Dr. Tuby has more than 25 years of leadership experience and including vast knowledge in the corporate sales sector, education sector, events, and hospitality industry. And she received her Doctor of Education in Organizational Leadership and Development in 2022. And you're passionate about self-care and educating women on how to prioritize their well-being while maximizing performance. And there is a lot of more stuff on Dr. Tuby's bio. Let me tell you, she is a very, very accomplished woman who started all of this very, very young in life. I believe at age 17, right? So
Correct.
I am going to throw it back to you to tell us more about all the incredible things that you have been doing in the last couple of decades.
Wow. Yeah. So going back to let's just take it back to age 17 when I
Okay.
decided to enter the world of entrepreneurship. We took a trip to Nigeria because I'm from Nigeria. I came here when I was 6 years old with my parents, the firstborn of four. So we
Mhm.
came here as immigrants, and they took us back when I was 17, and that really opened my eyes to like I saw women at like the marketplace. I saw women like walking with their children to make ends meet, and that opened like a new thing in my brain. Like, wow, I there's this thing about entrepreneurship. So at the
Mm,
tender age of 17, I came back to the United States pumped and was like, if these women are in Nigeria and they're like carrying their babies on their back with a wrapper and
right.
walking down the street and at the marketplace all day, and I have all of these resources available to me, I could start a business. And so that was what clicked in me at the age of 17. I started a catering business. At that time, it was called Catering by Kiva. And, I made my own barbecue sauce and everything. But that was how entrepreneurship started for me, my love for entrepreneurship.
Mhm.
And then I kind of, you know, took it together with everything else. And of course, I had my other jobs and careers, but I always loved entrepreneurship. And through that journey, I realized how difficult it was for women to juggle having a business. I was had my first child at the age of 18, and I was a single
Mhm.
mom, and then I had my second child. And the whole time I was always working, having a business, and raising the family by myself. Of
Wow.
course, that changed when I got married, and I was like, wow, this is a lot of work. And I remember there was a lot of times that I wanted to give up, and times that I was just like, "Oh, this is too much." But I just kept holding back to that. What kept me through was what I've been through in life.
Mhm.
Always looking back and going, you've been through this before, you can get through this. And
Mhm.
so that's where that resilience kind of developed. I started realizing that, man, if women don't have this, it's kind of difficult. Like it's really difficult to continue going forward, having a business without having something to pull from.
Mhm. Mhm.
And so that's how that all started for me. And of course, I went into other things and, you know, my career, my sales, teaching, started another business, fast forward, got married, and all that kind of great stuff. But through it all, I've had to hold so many hats as the woman of the house.
Mhm.
We love our men and everything. And I have a wonderful husband, but I'm like doing 10,000 things while he's doing like two. You know what I mean? And so it's like, God bless him. He's like doing the hard labor and stuff. But when it
Yes.
comes to thinking, I'm doing the payroll, I'm taking care of the children, I'm doing the doctor's appointments,
Yes.
I'm taking care of the family, the house, the
Yes.
shopping list, everything, plus having a business.
Mhm.
And so I was like, woo, I just can't imagine how women do this without strategies. How do women do this without support? How
Mm.
do women do this without just resilience, like being able to have a business. And then on top of that, let's imagine that you had something else like when I went back to school. That was crazy. And
Mm.
so that's where the passion and the love for helping women
Mhm.
develop their ultimate superpower, which is their resilience against all odds and challenges,
Mhm. Mhm.
was birthed. Was just, I know that I've been through the journey. I've been through so many challenges. I've been able to overcome. And
Mhm.
it's got me to this point. And I just know that if women heard more stories about that and were able to pull more into their own inner resilience, that they could also push through.
Mm, that is incredible. I'm just sitting here the whole time listening to you going, "Oh my goodness, I wish I had known about you, 10 years ago, 20 years ago," because I, have felt those pressures and the overwhelm. And uh, I was supporting so many other people, right? I think as women, I was supporting my husband and I was supporting my children and their dreams and all their things. And like you said, managing everything. And then as a single mom, which I've been for the past 8 or 9 years,
Mm.
wow, that just pressure. So I think it's incredible that you're speaking about this and that you have developed such incredible resilience. And it sounds like strategies and techniques. And how did you come upon this? Because it sounds like you've really dialed it into a very clear system. And
Yes.
how did this all come about? How did you?
Well, like I said, we have so fast forward, I got
Mhm,
married.
mhm,
We started a family business called Finer Details Luxury Events. And when 2020 hit, COVID hit, everybody remembers that.
mhm, mhm.
Um, they said we couldn't meet, we couldn't have events, and our family business was like shut down in the twinkle of an eye. We had
Wow.
lost over like $150,000 worth of revenue.
Oh,
I mean,
wow.
we were doing great. It was just like,
Mm,
what are we going to do? And at that time, I was just like, whoa. And so right at that moment, I was going through a lot, and I kind of prayed to God, and God said, go back for your degree. Because I had started, but I put it away because I was like, I don't need it. He goes, well, go back for your degree. And I'm like, why would I have doctorate in the middle of this? I can't do that with all this. I'm trying to revive my business. He goes,
mhm,
that's going to be your way out.
mm,
And so I go, okay. So I sit down, I start writing a dissertation, and I have a business to revive. And at that time, there was no way I was going to write a dissertation, have a business. So I learned how to hire an assistant, and I just basically detached myself from my business. And I said, you know what? I got to let her run the business.
mhm,
And while I started putting systems in place, I'm like, how will I
mm,
have someone else run it? Because I'm used
mhm,
to doing everything. I'm used to that controlling hat and everything. I'm like, how do
mm,
I make this where someone else can run this where I could focus? So I dedicated time to doing automations and systems and delegation and best practices and manuals. And I spent so much time.
mhm, mm,
And then at the same time, I was building my personal resilience. And I was realizing that even though I was having all those things in place, whenever I felt down in the dumps or like too much pressure in the world, I couldn't show up for my business. Like I didn't even have the energy to type an email or anything else. Like
mhm,
something is missing. Even when I'm putting all these things together, I'm
mhm,
putting the systems in, I'm putting the delegation, I'm putting automation, I'm training a team. But if everything is dependent on me and I don't feel I have the energy to show up, my business is at stake. And
mm.
that's where I started. As I realized that my personal resilience. So I and I started, I was writing a dissertation, and one day I was like
Yeah.
having a breakdown on the kitchen table, and I was crying in
Mm,
a pity party to myself. God, I
wow.
can't do this. I really can't do this anymore. I just can't. Why me? Am I the only one that has to do everything? I just
Mhm,
can't. And he goes to me, you're writing a dissertation on building resilience to stress and burnout. Why don't you just use those strategies? And I look and I'm like, really? Is it that simple? So I start doing the strategies. I start waking up earlier. I start, setting my boundaries. I start, chunking and planning with priorities. And just doing all this stuff that's in my dissertation. I'm going, it just became like, I just was like, oh my God, I have these systems in place for my business. I'm building my personal resilience. And then I realized that as I started building my personal resilience by putting in these daily strategies, I
mhm,
was showing up better for my business.
mm,
My business just started like catapult. I was like, what's going on? And I was like, wait a minute. I sat down, I thought about it, like, what is this? What's happening? And
mhm,
that's when I developed the resilient business blueprint. I realized, well, I have two systems. I have the S7 system, which is my personal resilience, what I do every day, keep myself
mhm,
whole, to
mhm.
keep myself strong enough to show up for the business. And
Right.
then what I did was took that and put it as the first pillar in my resilient business blueprint. So basically, when I developed the Resilient Business Blueprint, it was just a blueprint to help women. I mean, of course, all men are invited, but
Mhm,
my heart is towards women, is
mhm,
to help women because we have so much on our plate to be able to scale their business and develop a business that runs irregardless of their emotional well-being, irregardless of what's going on at home, irregardless of the economy or whatever, to
mhm,
have something in place that no matter what, if something happened and they had to run off or they wanted to celebrate something or they're not available, they
mhm,
have a solid plan, a solid system, a
Mm,
solid sales plan, a solid team that
mhm,
their business can run, and that they are not going to basically put all their hard work into this business. And
mhm,
just because one day they don't have the energy or one day they have nothing set up, that whole business fails.
mhm,
And so that's where I was like, you know what? This is where the resilient business blueprint comes in.
mhm,
And so that's how it all started. And what happened was in my business, we tripled revenue in 1 year. And this was with me working less, not being there. Like literally the only time that I showed up was when I had to meet with the client for like a consultation. I
mhm.
told my assistant, her name was Meg at the time, nobody should call me. I'm writing a dissertation. Just take care of it.
Wow.
And as I
Wow.
looked up and I looked at my numbers and I'm going, what's going on? And then I realized that was the systems I put in place, the
Mhm,
boundaries I put.
mhm,
Also, I increased my prices.
mhm,
And this is one of the pillars of my things called increased value.
mhm.
I decided, you know what, we used to run around town and do so many events, and it was just like really running us down. My husband was just like all over the place. We're so tired, and I was like, why are we doing 30 events in a weekend? Why don't we just do one? So I increased my prices, and I rebranded my
Mhm,
whole business, and then that was part of also. So that was part of what was put into the system as well. So I started realizing where things I did. I looked at my numbers and I go, what did I do to triple revenue? And then I just kept going up from there.
mhm.
And that's when I sat down to really think about it. And like, oh, that's when my personal resilience was built. I developed this, I did that. And that's how I came up with the 6 stages of the resilient business blueprint.
This is amazing, amazing, because I've been hearing the theme of resilience, but then I also heard this theme of setting boundaries and also letting go of control, which I think is really, really hard for us women to do. And then instead of you having, a negative outcome from that, you had this incredibly positive outcome where your business tripled. And so now you have a formula, it sounds like, and
Yes.
you can teach this to other women so they can do the same.
Absolutely.
Oh,
Absolutely.
I love
That's what it's all about. It's like, why hide it to myself?
it.
You
Right?
know what I mean? It's like, hey, it's all about empowering other women.
Mhm.
Like, why work harder? Why just, if there's a formula, if somebody has went ahead and figured it out
Mhm.
and they're willing to share it with you,
Mhm.
just be open. You know what I mean? Like I
Yeah.
struggled. I went through this. I went through my breakdown moment. I went through us losing everything and rebuilding and rebranding. And now we're making more than ever. And I'm able to add other businesses to it. Now I have a coaching and consulting business, and that one is still running. And I wouldn't have been able to do that if I didn't
Right.
have systems in place. I would be running like ragged.
Right. And it's such
So
a beautiful thing too, because it's almost like a living, breathing life insurance policy of meaning like sometimes we as women, we might get tired, we might get sick, or we have to take a break or a step away from the business. And if we did, it seems like prior to working with you or learning from you, somebody's business would just fall apart or fail or falter. But the way you're talking about it, it's already set up so they can step away or take a break if they need to. And in fact, wow, just knowing that would I feel like I would sleep better at night, right? And
yeah,
my stress would be much lower. This is incredible. So tell me
yeah.
then how are you helping women with your business leadership and your all of these programs that you have? How do you help them? How do you reach them? Do you have any programs or master classes going on?
Yeah. Yeah, so just going back to what you said, like you said, the whole
Mm,
purpose is for you to be able to practice self-care, prioritize your mental well-being. So by helping women to discover this program, they can come and learn about this resilient business blueprint. Okay. They'll learn the 6 stages and they'll just it's going to have a lot more information. It's 5 hours together. It's going to be the best transformational 5 hours of your life to come to this masterclass,
mhm,
and you will walk away with, wow, this is what I need. Okay.
mhm,
So I help women by taking them into my program. We have coaching programs, but really this blueprint, we have like a like a hub where the women come in and they basically implement this blueprint.
mhm,
And so once they implement it, I give them guided support and coaching and implementation, and we just see them scale. So basically, it's called the masterclass is called Scale Without Sacrifice. So
mhm,
teaching women how to scale their businesses, make
mhm,
more money, work less, and still prioritize their mental well-being, not sacrifice their relationships with their family, with their children, with their husbands, with their with other external family members, not sacrificing the time, not sacrificing everything that matters to them.
Mhm.
So teaching women that you don't have to pick, you don't have to sacrifice everything that matters to you to be successful in business. Like right now, I don't work on my birthdays. That's a boundary I have. I don't work on my birthday. I don't work on my husband's birthday. I don't work on my children's birthdays.
Mhm.
I don't care how much it is. And people will switch dates for me because they'll
Mhm.
pick a date and go, oh, I'll go, oh, sorry, that's my birthday. I don't work on my birthday. Like, what other date are you available?
Right.
So confidence to do that, to understand your value and your worth, to
Mhm.
know that this is important to me. It might not be important to everybody, but to me it is.
Mhm.
And I'm not willing to sacrifice that. And because I've already increased my value, and because I show up in the marketplace luxury branded, and I show up in the marketplace with expectations and boundaries set, people are willing to change to accommodate me.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
so these are the things I want to teach women, and I do that all in my program.
Oh, that's incredible. I love that. I love that
Yeah,
idea because I do think that that's a muscle that we women don't exercise enough, and we need a lot of support in learning how to do that. That is incredible. And I'm realizing too, it's not only are they obviously going to have greater business success and more time freedom, but their personal relationships are going to be better and easier, right?
absolutely. Because when you show up for yourself, you show up better for others.
Mhm.
When you're not taking care of yourself, you just can't. You're literally like just sitting there and you have nothing to give to anybody else. So
Mhm.
people think like, oh, I'm just gonna do everything for everybody else and everything's gonna be great. And then they just fall back and then they just like disappear basically.
I
But
know.
basically when you show up and you know what happens too, the more you take care of yourself, the
Mhm.
more other people value you.
Yes.
And they start looking and they're like, wow, she's taking care of herself. She's confident. She's respecting herself. She's not taking nonsense. And even your spouse, your family members, external family, your parents, people
Mhm.
start to see you differently. And so
Mhm.
when you show up with more confidence because people respect you more because you now have decided that you will respect yourself enough to
Mhm.
take care of yourself, to not be last, to not be on the back burner,
Mhm.
to not take care of everybody else and not yourself. Once you decide that, and
Mhm.
people realize it's a non negotiable,
Mhm.
if you're going to wake up and like my morning time is my morning time, I have a powerful morning routine. Don't bother me. I'm doing this and that. Everybody works around it. And once they, it's true. And once they realize that, it's like they know that I'm doing that to be the best version of myself. And when that doesn't come in, you might get a different version.
Right.
You
Oh,
might
I
get a different
love.
version. It's like, my husband's like, did you do your morning routine? Did you do your morning routine today? I'm like, well, no, because you came over here and bothered me. No. So anyway, once you do those things, you'll find out that this is how I show up,
Yes.
best version of myself.
Yes. Oh, I
Yeah,
love you talking about this because I learned that so late in life that being what I thought was selfish wasn't being selfish. It was actually exactly as you said. If I take care of myself first in a really loving way, in a way where I have enough time for me, then I can give so much better of me to other people, right? It's exactly what you're talking about. And it's not
absolutely.
being selfish. In fact, it's being selfish if I run myself ragged and don't have the best me to give to my family or my business or anyone, right?
Yeah, it's self-destructive when you do that. Not only you're being selfish to yourself, you're destroying yourself, you
Mm,
know? So that's just it. Women have to understand that, you know what, as women, we're the nucleus of the family and everything else runs around us.
mhm,
Everything runs around our energy. Everything runs around what we do.
mhm,
And if you self-destruct, everything else around you starts to destroy. So you have to understand that that power is within you.
mm,
Hold everything else together.
mm. That's beautiful. And if we hold that power, the family is more powerful, the business is more powerful.
Absolutely.
It's a,
Absolutely.
mm, this sounds amazing. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
So I want to touch on something else also because I I have been so blown away when I've seen you speaking on stage.
Mhm.
Can you tell us a little bit about how that journey started for you and who do you speak to and what do you speak about?
Yeah, so it's so funny because as a little kid, I used to take my little sister and brothers and I would teach them and always spoke for some reason. I just love to speak. And then that's where my love for teaching came in. I was a teacher for over 10 years. I always find myself something about speaking. And
Mhm,
so whenever I was in careers where I really wasn't speaking, I wasn't that happy. Uh,
mhm,
I was always like, how to elevate to a point where I was in a speaking role, like whether it's a sales supervisor or motivating a team or something.
mhm,
So as I got into school and everything like that, I just realized that something was missing. And I found a mentor, a great mentor, and I enrolled into her program and I started to hone my speaking skills and my speaking skills better. Prior to that, I did some speaking things, but once I stepped on the stage, I just was like, oh my God, this is my home. I love it. And
mhm,
I realized that there's a message inside of me, just like for so many women,
mhm,
that has not been brought out to the world like it's supposed to. Could be also because of people always thinking, oh, you talk too much, you say too much, you always know everything. And sometimes you feel like really ready for my message.
mhm.
And once you just realize that, you know what, my sheep hear my voice. From a stranger, they will not follow. I need to get my voice out there. And so this year, basically this year has been the birth of that, of me really stepping out and saying, I'm going to speak. And
Mhm,
wherever it lands, the people I'm supposed to serve will be drawn to me. So that's really been my motivation for speaking and getting my message out there and
mhm.
letting people know what I stand for. So it's just something I love, and I also want to help other women to know that whatever they're doing, that's another thing you can do is always speak to elevate your impact. And so I'm loving it. I'm just waiting for more opportunities to speak and be on stage and
Yeah.
get everything that's in here out to who needs
Yes.
to hear it.
I want more of Dr. Tuby too. I want everyone to have more of Dr. Tuby. So
Yes.
so tell us where the different places people can find you.
So you can find me if you go to my LinkedIn. I think I have a link tree there. Dr. Tuby Akinlosotu. You can go to my website, www.helpherthrivecoach.com. I
Mhm.
also have another website, aboveonlyleadership.com. You can find me on Instagram, um, Help Her Thrive. And what else? Yeah. So, I mean, I'm going to post this and I'll probably post
Yes.
some links. And then also that masterclass, if you
Yes.
want me to go to that resilientbusinessblueprint.com. So
Mhm.
yeah, you can reach me. I'm on the gram. I'm on the internet. Find me,
I
Dr.
know.
Sotu.
I'm gonna make sure everybody can find you as well, but I think this is incredible for people to have access to learning from you for 5 hours is incredible, and can you give us just a little taste of what some of the pillars are, what we might be
Yeah.
learning? Just a little bit? Love to hear
Yeah,
about.
so like I kind of threw some out there. Like one of them was that personal resilience is that
Right.
first pillar.
Mhm.
Increased value is my favorite pillar. I talk about
Ooh.
that a lot because I realize that women decrease their value. So I talk about how to position yourself in the marketplace as a premium brand and how to
Mhm.
attract premium customers and how to rebrand yourself so that you are attractive. And then I talk about your pricing. We talk about
Mhm.
pricing. And then embedded in that, some people might not know, but I am a sales coach as well. I was a sales supervisor for a national company for many years, and invested many, many, many thousands of dollars into sales training. They
Mhm.
actually get that in that pillar. So when women come into my program, something holding them back and something that helps, that does not let your business survive, no matter what you put in place, if you
Mhm.
don't have sales. So that is part of that pillar. Increased value is
Mhm.
teaching you how to sell without sounding sleazy and
Mhm.
how to price properly so that
Mhm.
your sales are just like flawless, and setting that system up for you like a sales process. So that's part of
Mhm.
that increased value. So not only they're coming in to learn about personal resilience, learn about visionary leadership, to learn about best practices and systems, delegation, automation, and then that increased value, they're
Mhm.
actually getting practical things that they can do and sales training to elevate their capacity to close sales.
Mhm.
So that's really, really important because the business will not survive without sales,
Right. Right.
no matter what we do.
Right. Right.
So
As I
that's
say,
that's an
then it's
important
just
element.
yeah, right. As I say, then it's just a hobby, right? If we're not
Yeah.
it's so beautiful because when you were just talking about increased value and, the elevated brand, the premium brand in your business, I also took in for myself today from you, which I appreciate, is that I also want to do that in my personal life, right? I want to have a premium brand in my personal life and show
Yeah.
up places feeling and knowing my increased value. And I have just been really, really soaking up a lot of this new knowledge from you. And I think that any woman out there who is wearing a lot of hats and has a lot of roles that they're trying to fill in a business and family, that it's just incredibly valuable information. And again, just helps not only us, makes us stronger, but helps our family and our business be stronger. So I
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
am incredibly impressed with you. I have loved talking to you today. In fact, I feel like I'm going to have to be having you on again
Yes.
because you are just dropping so much wisdom for everybody. So thank you. I will
Mhm.
make sure to share the links where everyone can find you. And then my last question to you, if people are interested in working with you one-on-one, are are you working with anyone one-on-one right now?
Yes, you can work with me one-on-one. I do have a VIP day that you can work with me one-on-one. You
Okay.
can reach out to me at Dr. Tuby at helpherthrivecoach.com, and we can discuss and jump on a call and look at your strategy and see where we can help you and tell you what we can offer
Great.
one-on-one. Yeah.
Great. Wonderful. Well, thank you so
Yeah.
much, Dr.
Thank
Tooby.
you.
I
And
know we're
thanks
going
for
to be
having
back
me.
here again having some fun.
Yes, I'm
Thank you.
looking
And
forward to it.
thank you to all the listeners of the Do It Now podcast, because the worst thing you could do to yourself is not become the person you could be in this lifetime. Thank you, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye.